Attention YouTube viewers! Before this video review begins, we here at Channel Pirate Captain Jeff would like to acknowledge that we are aware and supportive of the fact that there are multiple religions, and by extension, multiple holidays throughout the world. The purpose of this video is to not try to change, denounce, or enforce religious ideals or holiday beliefs. The point of this video is just to inform and entertain you in regards to a video game, or in this case, multiple video games, that all happen to take place on a specific holiday and share a specific theme. We hope you find this video informative and entertaining, and we thank you for your time and support. And now, on to the video review. Da 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 da. Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it, we test it, you play it. And now it is time to blow off some steam, as Aperture Gaming is proud to present a B.O.S. review. Now, this will be my first holiday gaming special, and honestly I'm not sure how this will play out next year, because here's what. At one point I was trying to for different games, I was going to try to do a compare, contrast, play two games review thing. But for this review, I'm reviewing not one, not two, but three different games. And that's a little bit overwhelming, so it's made me rethink that idea. Now, one of these games was released this year, one was released last year, and one was released way back in 2016. So I have a bit of a range here. Now, so I hope you pay attention to the intro. This is just a holiday gaming special. It's and that's just it. It's just for entertainment and informative purposes only, just in regards to the games. As for the games themselves, well, okay. One game I enjoyed, one game needs work, and the other game is a one-trick pony. And anyway, so bear with me as we go on this really weird journey of three holiday special games. And be sure to stick around on this channel, because coming soon will be the Aperture Gaming annual end of the year award show. But first, which games am I reviewing? Well, let's get into the rule of three review, shall we? Series. It is my belief that all three games are standalone titles. The three games are Santa Rockstar, Dead Christmas, and Kill Santa. Team. Santa Rockstar was developed by the Bekho team, B-E-K-H-O team, and was published by Nolans Games. Dead Christmas was developed by Mad Park Games and published by Madison and Amp, Heart LLC. And finally, Kill Santa was both developed and published by Rabbit Studios. Plot. For Santa Rockstar, you are a rock and roller, and as you're traveling down the road, you see that there's a crash, and poor Santa has crashed his sleigh. So you use the power of rock to try to save Santa, but instead you gain the power of a very rock and roll metal Santa. Now, with the power of metal and Santa combined into one, your job is to slay while driving the sleigh around and distributing the toys to all the children of the world. In Dead Christmas, aliens have landed at the North Pole, and you play the role as Santa. Your job is to fight off the aliens, the robots, and the mutated elves, because if you don't, then the aliens will take over the Christmas village, the North Pole, and quite possibly the world. And in Kill Santa, well, the title pretty much describes what's going on. Apparently Santa and his helpers have been bad this year, so you have to stop Santa from being bad by punishing him. So, yeah, by trying to kill Santa. It's pretty straightforward. It's like, okay. And out of all three of these titles, only one makes sense, and the other two you have to actually look up online to see what the plot or backstory is, which is tissue thin. Gameplay controls. For Santa Rockstar, this game came back came out in 2016. I think it was around the time of the Guitar Hero and Rock Band era. So that's what it does. You use your keyboard as a guitar. As the notes come down, you strum the notes and play it. Or I think you can actually hook up a peripheral guitar, and that's pretty much the gameplay. It's button mashing in a certain beat and time, and all the songs are Christmas based, only with a middle rendition to it. For Dead Christmas, like I said, you play as Santa. It's a third-person shooter game. Here's what. So you're a Santa. You have the power. You can throw hands, but your main weapons are you have a handgun, a healing ray gun, healing hand grenades, regular hand grenades, shotgun, rocket launcher, machine gun. Basically, you have a variety of weapons to fight off the robots, aliens, and mutants elves with. And if Santa should fall in combat during this, he uses his magical time manipulation powers to turn back time to a respawn point. So there's that. That's pretty cool. And for Kill Santa, the game is a third-person shooter where you basically just run and gun. You're trying to shoot Santa and his helpers and his body doubles to trying to stop him. You have to run, and you can also crouch a little bit, but it's running and gunning. You shoot at them, and they shoot at you. Very straight and to the point.
Graphics.
The graphics for Santa Rockstar, well, like I said, the game did come out in 2016. It looks cartoonish. It has the metal elements, and it does look like what you'd see from one of the Guitar Hero and or Rock Band games. More leaning towards Guitar Hero. It's not going for realistic, but it is entertaining to look at. As for Dead Christmas, everything looks cartoony, except for the aliens and the robots. The robots just look like robots, and the aliens, they look spooky, and the elves look weird when they get mutated. But they did a good job with the environments, and it is interesting how we can only see the back and side of the Santa Claus. We don't see his face. So it's a good balance between it has a lot of detail in some spots, but it's still going for cartoony. Now, as for Kill Santa, the environments are done really well, like the way the lighting works, and then there's reflections. I have no problems with the visuals for the environment. The characters, however, I think some of them look like just generic NPC models with a couple of things added on. And speaking of character models, we'll discuss that later on for part of this review.
Audio.
Okay, so this is the audio section. So naturally, since Santa Rockstar is based on the Guitar Hero / Rock Band franchise, that is its core thing. So you play through multiple levels, and you get like 3 songs you get a set number of songs that you have to play through. And they're a rock and roll rendition of popular Christmas songs, and I was really enjoying it. I was keeping the beat, but I was also having fun, and I just really thought the audio was entertaining. There was like no narrator, there was no cheering. Now there was no cheering, but there was also no booing. But yeah, you could hear like if you miss a note, there is that twang missed note sound, which I did not enjoy hearing previously. But the audio for Santa Rockstar is awesome. As for next we have for Dead Christmas. There's no narration there, but there's like this the generic. They have some generic Christmas music playing. It works, and then there's like when Santa jumps, you go ho, ho. And the guns sound pretty good, and when the aliens roar, yeah. So the audio is good. Nothing really over the top to write home about. Stuff that you would expect to see: Christmas music soundtrack, alien roaring, robot sounds, gun sounds. Yeah, everything just seems. Yeah, there's nothing that really stands out. But the music is pretty good for a couple parts. It does feel like it all fits, despite the merry jingliness against the backdrop of the alien shoot 'em up. As for Kill Santa, again, someone focuses on the gunplay. There's the noises when the people get hit from the bullets. But honestly, I'm drawing a blank on the audio. The audio from the music in the background didn't really leave much of a lasting impression. Can't really recall anything. So yeah, there's that.
Multiplayer.
No, all 3 games are single player only.
DLC.
Only one game has a DLC, and that is Santa Rockstar. And that DLC, it is the original soundtrack. And I will admit, like I indicated earlier in the audio section, I really enjoyed listening to all the rock and roll / metal renditions of all these songs. So I'll be honest, I am so going to get the DLC, the soundtrack for this. It is great. I gotta have this on my MP3 player. This is great. Everything else, no, there is no DLC.
Issues.
Oh boy, okay, here we are, the issues. Now, since I'm reviewing 3 games, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so for Santa Rockstar, there was nothing game-breaking. I think the only issue was the human issue, as in, I was playing this on the computer keyboard, not using the guitar peripheral, so I think there's a difference for that. It probably would have worked out a little better. But here's the thing, like, there's no costume unlocks, there's no character unlocks, there's no guitar unlocks. It does very much harken back to the old school original rock and roll stuff. So, while not bad, I would have liked to, I don't know, there have been a little bit more. But hey, I ain't gonna complain about getting the DLC of the soundtracks. So yeah, nothing game-breakingly bad. As for Dead Christmas, okay, there are a couple of issues. After I completed a mission, I logged out, back to the main menu, and logged back in. The objective I did, it seemed to like semi-reset. I was supposed to turn on the generators back on in the factory. But when I got back in there, the lights were off. So I went back down there to turn them back on, but didn't turn them on. And also, I was stuck in the factory at one point. It said to leave and go to the Christmas village, and I was trying to, but it wouldn't let me out. I logged out and then logged back in again, and it had me outside the factory this time. There was like an invisible wall between the factory and going down the ramp into the outside world. So there was a little issue with that. And then when I got to one area, it was weird how it was openly spawning. The spawn rate of the bad guys, of the villains, the antagonists. Yeah, they would like, I would just be someplace and these things would pop in out of nowhere. So it's like, okay, it needs a little work here and there with some coding area, but yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, the biggest issue comes from Kill Santa. This title came out last year, and even though it's been a year since its release, they need to do some work. So here's what. The story is tissue thin, like I said. You have to actually look up to see what you're getting into. The guns, here's what. When you pick up the guns, if you have more than one gun type, here's what. But when I was trying to play the game, I was reading over the instructions, and there is no area to indicate how to switch between weapons. I had to fiddle around with button pushing, and just so you know, if you have a mouse with a wheel, it's the middle mouse wheel that cycles between the weapons. Another problem is like if you die in the level where you're playing, it'll respawn you back at the start of the level. But here's what, you have to hope that you've gotten a good distance or enough time has passed, because if you get there, the weapons don't load back in. You have to wait a few seconds so then you can go pick them up. Otherwise, you're running through with no weapons. And the weird thing is, you start off with no weapons at the start of each level, whether it's a fresh start into the level or if you died. There were sometimes I was actually holding a weapon and it was only letting me use the melee command, which was really weird. Now, aside from the main story, the Kill Santa has like a fight in the Bronx and Escape from Cuba. And for the Escape from Cuba one, there was a door area that I interacted with, and it was automatically opening and closing after I interacted with it. So there had to have been a programming error there. So this game, it's been out for over a year by this point, and it is just very glitchy. And here's the thing, as kind of a selling point, going back to character models, the main character is female, and I gotta be thinking, okay, did they know that this game was going to be just so bare minimum with what you can and can't do? They're like, oh, we'll just make the main character an attractive looking female. That'll draw on the audience. And of course it has gunplay, that's another factor. And here's the thing, for some of the guns, when you use the aim feature, there's another factor after this. When you use the aim feature, the camera angles down so you see where you're aiming, but the camera is making sure that it involves the female character's lower back region. That's right, they're using that factor to try to sell the game to you. And speaking of aiming, let's say you're shooting at some of the... and So that if you're shooting at the characters, but you have to find yourself running backwards, then instantly you can no longer aim and shoot because you're running away. They don't have a backwards run function. And the only way you can shoot is if you're actually aiming. You can't just fire freehand. You have to aim and be going forward, because if you're trying to not aim, that won't work. If you try to run backwards, then you can't shoot. Yeah, so this game is riddled with problems.
Buy, rent, or pass.
I made sure to review these games in a very specific order for this part. So, I'd like to say that fortunately/unfortunately, all three games can fall into one of the categories. The buy definitely goes to Santa Rockstar. It is fun, it is funny, I think the concept is hilarious, and I love the soundtrack. This is a definitive buy for me. For Dead Christmas, there are a couple of issues, but this game did just come out only a couple of days ago, so hopefully a patch or two will get everything up and running a little more smoother. And like I said, you have to actually look online to see what the story is, because seriously, you start the game and you have no idea what's going on. You just do a few things and then bam, cutscene, something's attacking the factory. But yeah, a couple of tweaks here and there, and I think it'll go from rent to buy without any problems. And as for pass, Kill Santa. Yeah, this game was basically, like I said, they're hoping that the attractive female main protagonist is enough of a draw in that you don't realize how lousy this game is. Oh sure, the environments look great. Oh sure, the main character looks great. But what's this? The game itself stinks? We hope no one notices, so yeah. Kill Santa is a pass.
Overall score.
Yeah, so those are the three. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Or in this case, the good, the needs work, and the bad and ugly. Alright, so like I said with the buy, rent, or pass thing, I made sure to review these games in a very specific order and mannerism. So leading out the pack, starting with Santa Rockstar, it gets a 9.5 out of 10. Sure, I love the soundtrack, and it was a nice reminder back to the days of Guitar Hero and Rock Band. But yeah, the DLC is awesome. I feel it could have done a little more. Maybe more locations, unlockable characters. It just needed a little something extra. Okay, yeah, so 9.5 out of 10. Next, we get to the game that came out this year, Dead Christmas. We give that a solid 8 out of 10. So it's been out for only a little while, relatively speaking. But I think with a patch or two in the updates, this game has the potential to go from the rent category into the buy category. So yeah, it gets a solid 8. It ain't perfect, but it's pretty good. It's moving along, and it's a lot further than the third and final one. The third game, the game that came out last year, it has had a year to have been worked on, and it's just like, okay, we're hoping that Kill Santa, based on the environment looking great and our main character looking great, will overshadow the fact that the rest of this game is just, no. We here at Aperture Gaming, we give Kill Santa a 5.5 out of 10. Not to spoil anything, but we've already made our pick for the worst game of the year, and if I hadn't played this game, or I hadn't played the game that I have picked, I think this game might be a front runner. In fact, if I had played it last year, I'm pretty sure it would have also been a front runner for the worst game. I mean, that versus Golem and Hammer of Virtue. Ooh, oh yeah. Yeah, so sorry for the rant, but yeah, so Santa Rockstar, bye, 9.5. Dead Christmas, rent, solid 8. And Kill Santa, pass, 5.5. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this winter holiday review special. I'm glad we got a chance to blow off some steam with this B.O.S. review. Until next time, this has been Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming saying, thanks for watching, and game on. Hope you have a nice day, and I look forward to seeing you for the end of the year review. Ta-ta!